Hello, welcome back into the ASUG News Studio. My name is Tom Wilg. I'm one of the co-hosts here as we are broadcasting live from the SAP Business Objects User Conference 2013, and we are in Anaheim, California. Well, very excited to have two guests in the studio. They're first-timers with us, and we're going to talk about some pretty cool stuff today. So Elena Ziemke, welcome, and Rick Brocht, welcome in. You guys are great. They both work at Capital BlueCross. And we're very excited. Can you tell us, starting off, just what is Capital BlueCross? What do you guys do?
Capital BlueCross is a leading health insurance company in central Pennsylvania. We have over 700,000 members. We provide medical and dental coverage for those people. And we cover it in 21 counties. We invested in business intelligence, business objects in 2005, and we have been with business objects since then.
Wow, great. 700,000. That is not insignificant. Yeah. Wow. Rick, what do you do there?
My title is BI lead. I kind of like to think of myself as the salesman for business intelligence in our organization. I try to fit in where I need to, help with training, jump in whenever someone's having a problem with a particular complex report or something like that. So I don't fit in a neat little box, but I just jump in where I'm needed.
It was interesting, and I don't know if you caught the town hall, but they asked the panelists, one of our ASUG members said, hey, you know, we often feel like we have to sell your stuff. Can you help us make that easier? Which I thought was a really interesting point. I think the SAP executive was like, well, that's kind of interesting. So that's essentially some of your job is doing that, getting that buy-in?
I think so, yes.
No commissions for you, though, from SAP, I'm sure.
Just that we succeed.
Right, exactly.
So just Elena, appreciation from the people within the company.
Absolutely.
For the help that he does.
So, Elena, what do you do there?
I'm a business object admin and designer, and I had that role since the initial implementation of business objects in 2005. So I've been doing it for 8 years. About 8 years.
You've seen a lot of changes, I'm sure.
Yes, a lot of changes. Initially, when we installed business objects, it was 6.5, version 6.5. This is a long time ago, and then we went through a few upgrades. We won Excite 2.5, and then 3.1, and now we're challenging full.
Awesome. Well, your presentation, which is a great topic, speaking of change, is on changing an organization's culture by using an upgrade. Absolutely critical topic. We would love to hear. So can you give us some of the background, or, you know, why did you set out to kind of change the culture using this? Why did you think you could actually do it? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, our business subject prior to upgrade was a single clustered environment.
Okay.
And we had all production stuff, all production reports running from that single environment, and at the same time we had a lot of designers, developers, testers that creating new reports and testing those reports in the same environment. That's create a lot of issues, a lot of performance issues, especially when somebody tries to run production report in the same environment and at the same time when somebody's trying to test. And our environment prior to upgrade was wide open to all users, and we have about 300 users, active users of business objects. And wide open, I mean anybody could run any kind of query. So if somebody decided to run and pull 10 years worth of data, they could at the same time when somebody's trying to run production report.
And that would just
so that
be like,
obviously, so we're trying to put some controls and restructure our new environment so we have some control over that.
So there was a clear identified need that this needed to happen.
Yeah, I believe so. I think that was the blatant need, but we took the opportunity to reevaluate our whole environments and security and a lot of things and say, well, what can we make better? And it seemed like a good time to make those changes.
Right. But it wasn't just you guys saying it, right? It was a more of a enterprise-wide type of view that this really did need to be fixed.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we have a team. We have a team of maybe 10 different people, like a board, and they come from different areas of different departments.
Okay.
And that's when we sit up and talk about what we want to do, how we want to do, and the team involves technical people, people from IT, and obviously business users who actually put their input, and we decide what we want to do, how we want to make things better.
Well, I think what you did too, obviously in your presentation, we talked about, you identified some pretty key areas: standardization, change management, scheduling, and self-service. Can you talk a little bit those areas and why those areas were important?
Well, I think for our organization, we identified specific things that we wanted to address with our upgrade. But I think also, and kind of talking about our presentation, I think every organization handles their environment a little different. We opened up our, like Elena mentioned, we opened up our environment for anyone to report off of. Some organizations develop all the reports in IT. Mm-hmm. So what we'd like to do in our presentation is engage the attendees to talk about how their organization does things, so that maybe we can get some networking going on. Sure. And some conversation in the class. So that's really our one of our big goals for the presentation. So
that's pretty smart. You give and you get.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. So let's talk about the successes that you've had so far. I'd love to hear them. I think that's one of the reasons why people come to this conference, to hear your challenges, hear what the beginning state was. What have been some of the early successes that you've seen?
Well, overall success we hope for is to separate production environment from development and test environment. Mm-hmm. And so we can get development and testing done at the same time when, production reports are run. That's mm-hmm. the overall again, and that's yep. what we're aiming for.
Yep.
That's one of the.
And so does that, to the layperson, that may sound like, well, why can't you just do it? But it's not as easy as just saying it. What makes it so hard?
What make it?
What?
I'm sorry. What?
What makes it so hard to separate those environments?
We didn't have an infrastructure before. Mm-hmm.
So that
and we had to put infrastructure in place. We had to have a different servers, new set of servers and all that. Plus, it's a cultural thing. Mm-hmm. I think that's a lot of that, and I think Rick can talk more about that. It's a cultural because right now everybody's used to single environment. That's everybody goes. We have one link and everybody logs in to that and everybody knows where they are and they run from there. Now they have to think, okay, if I want to do this, I have to go to that environment. And there are certain rules for each environment that we're trying to enforce. Okay, in this environment, this is wide open. You can do whatever you want there, and that's your testing environment or that's your development. You can play there as much as you want, but this is production. So there are different rules for production. There are naming standards. There are certain things you can and cannot do. So that's a cultural change, and there are some rules and regulations that we're putting in place. So I think that's a lot of that has to do with just getting used to that and handling things differently.
Sure.
More structural.
Right.
So I think the culture part of it, in the process of this project, we had our really technical IT folks in the same room with our business customers, and each of them got to hear the other's needs. IT wants formal rigor around the environment. Business wants to be able to do what they need to do their job, and both of those talked to each other, and then we came to a consensus over how we were going to implement this strategy. So I think that's where we're starting to break down cultural walls in our organization, hence the presentation.
Amazing what just getting in the same room can do.
Yes.
And listening to each other.
Yes.
And it seems like the heart of most of our presentations are go that route. So the BI4, from a technical point of view, how has that gone so far, the upgrade? Or
it's that we had some challenges. Mm-hmm. We went through a few service pack until we were able to find a stable service pack. Okay. Because every service pack we installed, it would fix issues we had, but that it would introduce something else. So we finally found a stable service pack and patch for that service pack that we are on. We are on service pack 6. Okay. And with the patch. And we work extensively with SAP Business Object Technical Support to get the advice and help to find a stable service pack for us. So
well, good news. BI 4.1 is here. I'm sure you're ready to jump right in.
In retrospect, we might have hung on a little longer and waited for that, but I think we're comfortable with where we are now.
Great. Well, we'll close out here. I want to get your last piece of advice. If you were going to, share a quick conversation with an ASUG member who is undergoing a similar, what would be your one piece of advice to get started, to get them started?
Well, I think that since we're so close to 4.1, I would say hold on and wait for 4.1.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Identify what you want to improve with the project and plan for that.
Yep.
Yes.
Plan
Great.
resources and time and everything.
Sounds good, like good project management. Great.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much for coming to the studio. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
For more interviews, stay here live on the show floor at SBOUC 2013, and there'll be much more coming up on asugnews.com. And thank you very much for watching.